Hello, Indianapolis Motor Speedway fans. Thanks for joining us again in another one of our weekly series of talking to some of the drivers in the NTT IndyCar Series as we lead into the 107th running of the Indianapolis 500 presented by Gamebridge. Now, we're taping this on the last day in January, and just about 48 hours ago, the guy sitting to my right, Simon Pagenaud, just picked up his second 24-hour Daytona win. Have you gotten any sleep yet? You've been on one side of the coast all the way over here so you could be part of Content Day, but just 48 hours ago, you were celebrating in Victory Lane.
I think you can see my eyes are dropping. It's tough, but it's good. You know, I'm running on adrenaline. I'm running on the joy of a win. You know, that's why we race. We race for this feeling of riding that wave. It's just sensational. So I'm very excited. It was obviously amazing for Relishes Racing, our second year in a row, winning Daytona in a very nice manner this year. I felt like we really dominated, and in a brand new car. So hats off to the mechanics. Honestly, 24 hours of racing to me is more down to the mechanics and the preparation than the drivers.
So those IMSA cars, the GTP cars, will actually run at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in a 2-hour, 40-minute sprint race in September. Tell us how cool those cars are that our fans are going to get to see in September.
I've got to be there. I got to drive that car. I got to win the sports car race at the Speedway. That's next.
Well, you got 4 wins at the Speedway, 3 of them on the road course, 1 of them in the Indy 500. We'll talk about that in a minute, but those cars are pretty spectacular.
Yeah, they are. They really are. They're very advanced. Obviously, we have a hybrid system. Those cars have just been designed, so they're really extracting the best out of the regulation of IMSA. Obviously, what's really interesting with the regulation of sports cars is now the GTP can go race also in Le Mans, which is different than the DPI era. And it's exciting to see all these manufacturers come into play. So we had BMW, Porsche, Acura, obviously in Cadillac fighting in the GTP. And obviously, for us, what was fun is all the traffic from the GT class as well. But very different to IndyCar, and that versatility is something that I really enjoy.
So you were in those cars for much of the 24-hour race. So now, the end of this week, you actually start testing here at Thermal. Mindset, do you have to change the way you drive? Are the cars completely different? Do you have to completely switch gears to get prepared for this test and then the NTT IndyCar Series?
It's a great question. It's tough because it's, you know, the tires are different, the aerodynamics is different, the weight is very different. The GTP are much heavier than the IndyCar. The IndyCar is a brute car. You have to be physically ready for it. It's very raw, and it's about pure instinct driving. So I might have to change my mind, go back to really attacking as hard as we do in IndyCar and make sure that you know, I extract the best out of the car.
So you started running in 2012, you were Rookie of the Year in 2012 in the series, and then you come to Indianapolis in 2014. When we redid our road course and you came, you pick up that win there for Sam Schmidt, you win there for Roger a couple times, you win an Indy 500 for Roger. 15 wins in your career, 4 of them at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What's the Indianapolis Motor Speedway mean to you, and why are you so successful when you run there?
It's huge, it's been huge. The place has been huge for my career. You know, winning the first Grand Prix, for some reason, that win really helped my career tremendously. I felt a lot of momentum. First of all, from the fans at Indianapolis, because I was an Indy winner in some ways.
Yes.
And from the teams as well, the recognition from the paddock changed from that race specifically. And then it was onward from there. So I don't know about that place, but I gotta tell you, I'm just blessed. I'm grateful that for some reason there are tracks and areas sometimes work better for someone. And I've got to say, Indianapolis Motor Speedway has been extremely good to me and our family, Pagenaud family.
So I think we had a trophy incident at the Speedway at one point in time.
Yes.
You want to talk a little bit about? I still don't know the whole story. All I know is you got a trophy and then somebody brought it back in and said, hey, the trophy's damaged. Can you fix it? One of our Grand Prix trophies early on. Is there a story behind what happened there?
Yes, actually, after winning, I believe it was 16 with Roger Penske, we had the trophy displayed in the area where the engineer worked and the mechanic, and it was on a cubby. And unfortunately, somebody opened the cabinet and the trophy fell down and got damaged. So, you know, obviously we were like, no way, this is bad luck. But thankfully it wasn't, because I won Indy in the future, but we got it fixed, it's all good, it's at home.
Well, that's good. Well, it's not as, I was thinking the story might be a little bit more colorful than that one. I'm glad it was just falling out of it.
Fixed it up.
Yes, that's fantastic.
I don't know who fixed it. I don't know how that was. I don't know if it's Roger that said, we're going to fix this now. But it got fixed, and I never heard of it again.
Speaking of Roger, winning at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the most iconic owner at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Roger Penske, I'm sure as you celebrated, it was sort of about, wow, this whole team won the Indianapolis 500, but at what point in time do you realize that only a handful of drivers have been able to win the Indy 500 for Roger Penske, and that's about as big a gift as you can give him as anything?
Oh, well, I tell you, it was a huge honor. First of all, it's a huge honor to drive for Team Penske, but I must say, I realized it recently. You know, when you see the stats, you know, on social media, you get to see the stats from all the drivers, and I was in that list of very few drivers that did it for Roger. And actually, you know, out of the 18 wins at Indianapolis, I'm one of the 18, but a lot of drivers repeated, like Helio, like Rick Mears. So there aren't that many.
Right.
So it feels very special. I'm obviously very proud of the achievement. I obviously was given exceptional equipment, yeah, very, very thankful for the opportunity that I had.
So speaking of Roger, who would have thought that the Meyer-Shank team ends up with two of Roger's most iconic drivers driving for them? So you get a chance to get reunited with Helio.
Yes.
And Meyer-Shank Racing. How has that relationship been for the two of you?
It's been great. I've heard Roger actually joked a bit with Jim Meyer and Mike Shank about stealing his drivers, which I thought was super funny. But you know, the relationship with Helio, and that was a key part of my decision to go to Meyer-Shank Racing. Is Helio was there. I knew what the goal was. I was able to talk to him, and it just gave me an understanding of what the goal of the team was for the future and the future of my career. So. That was a great reassurance, knowing that I can work really well with Helio and that really there's no ego between the two of us, was really strong for the team to develop itself. And right now, that's what we're doing. I think we're seeing it. We're seeing the momentum of Meyer-Shank Racing. I want to believe that it's our input that's helping a little bit. We're a little part of it, but it's really great to see how that works together.
You know, and it's a little bit like, so Michael Shank is a racer at heart. He's raced cars himself. So having an owner like Roger, raced cars, really focused about it, I'm sure that's, from a driver standpoint, feels real good to have an owner who also used to drive cars and understands the challenges you go through.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing about racing cars is, like, from outside, it just looks like we jump into the race car, drive around, but the competition's so high. We're athletes, and we have to treat our life as into details as you can be. You know, you got to be prepared physically, mentally, and you have to be in a good environment for yourself, right? Just like any other athletes in the world. And certainly the race teams, that's what they do. They create an environment for their drivers to shine into it. And whether it was at Team Penske, I had the chance to shine, and now with Meyer-Shank Racing, it's a very different environment, but it definitely suits me really well.
So off the racetrack, what I've been impressed with you is how you've really tried to connect with fans. So whether it's through Norman, taking Norman to racetrack, sort of living a weekend at the racetrack through Norman, or some of the photos you've done in your fire suits with a helmet on, how much fun do you have connecting with fans through social media?
You know, I enjoy social media because it's a great platform to communicate. Obviously, you can't communicate with everybody one-to-one. It's very difficult to do, but with social media, you have this network now that you can really show your daily life and show what you do outside racing, and that's what people are interested in these days. So, you know, the Norman thing, my dog, the funny thing is it was totally organic. There was no, at the very beginning, there was no idea behind, you know, having a dog and just using him for social media. I just love dogs and I love him, and but people actually, there's a lot of people that actually ask me more about Norman than me. So it's more about him now.
Well, maybe my best memory from that 2019 Indianapolis 500 was not really even about Norman, but Beth and I had our dog Kimmy, our little Italian greyhound. I brought him to Victory Lane. We got that photo of you holding because you love dogs, and it's just that kind of cool connection point there. And I know that is a place where our fans can connect to something that they have at home, their dogs, and just seeing it from you. You're a dad. How cool is it to be a dad, and you got a second one on the way?
Yeah, it's you know, I honestly, Indy was everything to me, but being a dad is another level. Let's just say it. It's just another level. It's I'm loving it. I love you know, having that connection with Marley, my son, and we're expecting another baby on the way in March. So it's a different stage in life for sure. You've got to readjust a lot of things, but I enjoy the process, and seeing him grow right now is just incredible. I speak French to him.
That's amazing.
Yeah, only French, and hey, my wife, she speaks in English to him. And he understands both, and he's not even 2 years old. So it's really cool. He loves cars too much. That's a big concern of mine. I don't know if I've saved enough money for his career. We'll find a way.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Maybe you can help.
Well, I'm going to just watch you. I think you'll be fine, and the kids are going to be all good. So as we lead into the Indianapolis 500 this year, and as folks see this, we're a few races behind us in the NTT IndyCar Series. What are your goals for the 2023 NTT IndyCar Series season?
Well, my number one goal is Indy. You know, I come back every year, and it's been the case since I won the championship. I've been very, very focused, number one on Indy, because to me it's the biggest race in the world. It's the fastest race, it's one of the oldest races that exists, and the best traditions as well. So winning that race, to me, you're the fastest driver on earth for 1 year. So I want to redo that, and I want to do it with another team. That would be such an achievement in my career to be able to say that I won with two different teams the fastest race in the world. So number one goal, certainly worked well last year, but we can do better. And after that, you know, obviously in the future, because I don't think we're fully ready yet for the championship. I think we're good for top 6, and that's my goal.
Well, I thought you might say, you know, in May of 2019, you really dominated, right? You won the Grand Prix, you sat on the pole for the 500 and won the 500. So I was wondering if maybe you had a fourth element you might add to that. But ladies and gentlemen, this is Simon Pagenaud, our 2019 Indianapolis 500 winner. He's won 4 times at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, 3 of them on our road course, 1 of them on the big day in May, the one that's just coming up right around the corner, the 107th running of the Indianapolis 500 presented by Cambridge.